Join Bob Kolazarik as he welcomes a diverse array of guests to the enlightening talk show, Greetings from the Ashram. In each episode, Bob sits down with experts and practitioners from the world of complementary healing modalities, spirituality, and holistic wellness to delve into the transformative power of these practices. From ancient traditions to cutting-edge therapies, Greetings from the Ashram offers viewers an insightful and uplifting journey into the realms of mind, body, and spirit. So now, please welcome your host, Bob Kolazarik.
Hello, everyone. Namaste and welcome back. I am Bob Kolazarik, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. And when I say welcome back, I'm hoping you're back from last week. Thank you for spending an hour of your Friday evening with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm really, as always, grateful that you're here. And thanks again to everyone for the support of this show. Tonight we have with us three amazing women who have an upcoming event. And the event is the Alchemy of Conscious Leadership, a transformational experience for purpose-driven visionary leaders. And it's a 2-day virtual masterclass, Monday and Tuesday, November 13th and 14th from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And with us, we have Barbara Alexander, who is an intuitive strategist, an advisor, and astrologer. We have Farrell Moore, master of the energetic arts, and Susan Reed, a professional astrologer and Kundalini teacher. So please welcome these ladies to the show. Welcome, ladies. So excited to have you guys here. We've been communicating a lot, and I really love all of your expertise, and I'm excited. I love astrology, and Farrell knows me. I like the energetic arts as well. So we got a lot to cover. So let's just jump in and start getting to know you guys. Barbara, how about we start with you, the intuitive strategist?
Thank you, Bob. I'm excited to be here too. And I'll just give a brief introduction. You already said my name and what I do. I'm an intuitive coach, strategist, and astrologer. And I have a corporate background, and I've taken that corporate background and have now turned it into a business that is in service to others, in service to leaders. I spent 25 years in a variety of corporate leadership roles in sales and marketing. On the technology side, I also spent some time on Madison Avenue, which is known for the agency world. So I have a pretty diverse background when it comes to corporate. And when I heard the call to make a greater impact in the world, I decided to become a certified professional coach. And it's been a journey for me over the last several years where I landed today, which is incorporating mindset work and astrology. And I use astrology as a strategic asset to work with my clients, because there's a lot, and you'll see from one of the segments in our show tonight that you can learn a lot about yourself when you look at your astrology, and you can learn a lot about the cycles that you're going through in your life when you can marry that with the energy that's present today. So we're going to educate you a little bit more, Bob. We're excited that you're interested in astrology, because we're gonna probably make you close to an expert before we're done tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm excited about it. I did take a couple of esoteric astrology workshops, so I have a little bit of familiarity, but not overly so. So I do have some questions on it, but I'm excited to get your take on it. So Farrell, how about let's go to you. I know you a little bit. You're a friend from the ashram, Bovina Ashram. So how about you? I don't know your background other than the pranic healing and Hatha yoga aspect.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, it is so great to be on with a fellow Arhatic yogi and pranic healer. So, as Bob said, my name is Farrell Moore. I actually come from an education background where my energetic arts was my side hustle for many.
I think we lost sound. Yeah, we lost the sound on Farrell, so let's try to get that back. Susan, let's go to you in the meantime. Try to see if we can get Farrell's sound back on.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Good.
Okay, great. So yeah, it's funny, as she was about to say that her background in education and that the esoteric arts were a side hustle. That is definitely my original interest in astrology started when I was 19 or 20, and I was pursuing a degree in English and literature, and so I was going to teach college literature, love language, literature, the meaning that it creates, and so as I was working through my undergraduate degree, I became obsessed with astrology and started studying it. We all have Scorpio risings, which we'll probably mention. But when you have that, you tend to get obsessed with whatever the passion is, right? And that certainly happened to me with astrology. And so I went on and continued studying and went on for a master's degree in literature. And I studied a lot of philosophy, and I've always been interested in the different perspectives of world religions and where religion and philosophy and even I took a philosophy class called religion and sexuality, and so the idea of consciousness and the energy of consciousness and how that connects with spirituality and even the way we relate to others in the world, that was always really intriguing. And so I ended up, going to France and teaching there, teaching English. And around the time of my Saturn return, which if you're familiar with that,
I don't know that term.
okay. So I basically reached a critical point in my life at about 29 years old. And that's been a little while ago, but I ultimately left a PhD so that I could pursue astrology. And around the same time, I was also becoming very dedicated to Kundalini yoga. I've done yoga since I was, 20. I found it on a VCR that I borrowed of a friend and put it in and had a similar feeling about yoga. But when I found Kundalini yoga, and kind of the energy of Shakti and Bhakti and being able to bring that level of consciousness and embody it in a very physical way and take all of the meaning of language that had always meant so much in terms of creating meaning in my life. This was a beautiful kind of blending and really set me on a very different path. I have a 5 and an 8-year-old. So along the way, I've had a family, and, very practical aspects of reality have been important to me too. But I've always held a very spiritual calling. And so I'm excited about the intersection of me and Farrell and Barbara and even you, Bob, because this is an exciting time astrologically and personally and professionally.
Yeah, for me as well. Are you saying it's an exciting time for me? I feel
Oh,
like it's an exciting time, but I can't wait to hear more about it and the um, interconnection of it all. Farrell, do we have you back yet?
I think so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. Okay, cool.
Great. So similar to Susan, right? It was my side hustle, and I was an educator, and then I went on to become an assistant principal, also still doing energetic work on the side, and then one day just decided that it's time, and I started pranic healing. Let's see, 2019 was when I took my first class, the very beginning of
Same here.
2019.
Yeah, I was January or no, February of 2019.
Yep. And then it was just full steam ahead. And what I found that was really fascinating for me was the threads of pranic healing that I was already doing without realizing I was doing it. And so that's when I started to study it and Reiki and some of the other esoteric studies so that I could bring it all together and recognize that we're all speaking the same language and we're all doing the same things in our own way. And that was enlightening for me. Pranic healing is my primary modality now, and I wouldn't change that for the world. The work that we do in the world as pranic healers is transformative, both on a physical level as well as a psychological level. And for that, Master, thank you.
Well, that's for sure. And the Arhatic yoga practice really helps, and the blending of those two are fantastic. But back to you, Barbara. I was reading in your book. about your transition. I was in the elevator business, corporate world for 30
Mhm.
years, and then I got the calling. And I'm hearing, everybody, you got the calling, you're doing it as a side hustle, and boom, here we are. And but what I love about it, and my mission is, you said something in your book about being woo woo to woo woo, and I just like, we have a PhD here, and it's not woo woo. I mean, it just needs to become more mainstream, and
Ex-
people need to
ex-
be educated.
Exactly. And my project, this book project that came out in the summer, it was my I felt it was necessary. Well, my purpose was to educate people in the corporate world, because a lot of them aren't really familiar with astrology and how it can really be incorporated into their life. So in reading that book, you can see that I made some really basic assumptions about how they can incorporate it into their life, much like they're using other kinds of tools in the corporate world, like emotional intelligence and some of the other assessments, because it's very enlightening. And Susan is the person that introduced me to astrology. I don't know if you picked that up in the book, because I mentioned
Yeah,
Susan's
no, I
name.
did. Now I started to see how the team starts coming together, and
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about that also in a little bit. But yeah, I did pick up on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so bringing in energy has been an interest, like bringing the energy into this group of beautiful astrologers was fascinating, because we all had this common thread of this Scorpio rising, which I didn't understand, Bob. Let me just tell you, I am not an astrologer. I am I am a newbie. And when I was on the call with these two beautiful women, it was very clear that we were all on the same mission, and that the three of us could contribute together in such a beautiful way. So it was really quite a beautiful coming together of three very, very different yet educated minds.
Yeah, I was picking up on that, and I think we all have this shared mission. But before I move on, I just want to show a copy of Barbara's book. It's an Amazon um, bestseller, right? How to
Yes.
Break the Glass Ceiling and
Yes.
Keep It Nice. So that's fantastic. Congratulations on your book.
Thank
That's
you. Thank you. And I would like to add that there was an astrological cycle that supported me in publishing that book. It was so connected to what was going on in my personal astrology. The timing was absolutely right on.
yeah. So that, I tell you what, we can spend hours. I know talking about it, but the segments run a little fast here, and I do want to talk about the Kundalini teaching, because Kundalini energy, I think, is very misunderstood and a little bit difficult to understand. And a lot of people might think it's energy, but it works in conjunction with the sexual energy, right? Is it?
Yeah, it's in essence, it's creative energy, and it's Shakti energy, or divine, kind of the divine energy of consciousness that sits very latent at the base of our spine, and that we can activate and up and raise that consciousness or that awareness through the Shushmana, the central channel of the spine that houses the energetics, right? The chakras, the subtle body, the pranic body. In Kundalini yoga, there's actually 10 energy bodies, or 10 aspects of the self. So when we start to awaken that energy, it's creative in its infinity. It is the infinite creative of creativity and creative potential of the individual. You could think of it as a soul, if you believe in that we all have a soul, but it's awakening
Well, we
that
certainly
creative.
do here in our Hatha yoga. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, and so yes, you can channel that in many, many different ways, right? And so sexual union, if you think about that, Kundalini yoga comes from and is influenced by, partially, not completely, but tantrism, and the Shiva and the Shakti, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, that have a dance, that have a union, that all of creation is from this genesis of energy, right? And not necessarily, so that we can definitely bring that into our partnership, and we can bring that into the way that we connect with other people, but it is not explicitly sexual. No.
No,
Yeah.
and then we could talk for a long time, and we do have a Kundalini meditation in our Hatha Yoga too. But it is, I am up on a break, so it's time to take a short commercial break. So I'm your host, Bob Kolazaric, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be right back after this.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Bob Kolazaric, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Tonight I have three amazing women that we saw, and I'll bring them back. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
We'll switch gears and let's start talking about your upcoming class and how you guys all got together. Barbara, let's go back to you.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I knew Susan. She was the first person that introduced me to astrology back in 2020. So Susan and I worked closely together. She's the one that really got my astrology career off the ground. And then I've been working with Farrell separately in another community. And it was interesting because I was having conversations with Susan and I was having conversations with Farrell separately, but we were talking about the same thing. We were talking about how this energy work is so linked to someone's personal astrology. And so we started it was just magical how it came together. I was ideating with Susan, I was ideating with Farrell, and I said, you know what, we all need to talk. And I had done Farrell's reading, I guess it was like a year or two ago. And I said, guess what, Susan? She's a Scorpio rising too. And it just really seamlessly came together. So then we just started talking. We had this brilliant idea to put this masterclass together. But it's also more than a masterclass. It's going to be a program that we're going to follow up with after the masterclass. And the masterclass is about introducing people to the concepts that can help educate them. So Farrell, why don't you talk about where that's leading?
Sure. So we are going to be following up the masterclass with this beautiful container that is a hybrid model of both private and group work. And the idea is this: bringing together the concepts of pranic healing for the purposes of maintaining a high frequency, astrology to help guide the decision making and anything else that might be coming along in your chart so that you can be easily go through whatever's happening, or at least be aware of it. I don't know if it'll be easy for you, but at least it will be aware of it.
I don't know if,
And then,
if Mars is involved. I don't know if it'll be easy. That much I know.
yes, that's very true. But if you're made aware of it, then you can be prepared for it, so it doesn't take you down. And then the Kundalini energy and the other level of astrology that Susan provides allows for us to give daily practices that are not just energetic, but also physical, right? So there's a physical breath work that's involved with Kundalini. There's Kriyas that are involved with Kundalini. And bringing the three together, and Bob, you'll find this fascinating. Again, we have another triangle, another triad, right? Another way of bringing things together in this beautiful way. And not any one of them is more important than the other. They're all in conjunction with each other, can take a leader from where they're at now to where they want to be and beyond.
Yeah, like
And
when we work in triangles, it's like the Trinity: divine light, divine love, divine power, and you guys have that balance between you. One is the creative aspect, one is the love aspect, one is the power aspect. Is that is that what you guys have going on with yourselves?
yes,
I like
actually,
that.
Yes.
that's a beautiful way to put that.
Yeah.
And so the way that the program works is that once we go through the masterclass, everybody's going to be put into this beautiful container, which will allow them to receive work from with us, I should say, on a monthly basis, as well as private work with each of us on a quarterly basis. And so what's happening there is we are showing people how bringing these routines, these energetic and astrological themes through their lives to make them that much stronger of a leader.
Now, are your programs designed for women? I know, Barbara, you work a lot with women. Susan, I don't know so much about your clientele, but is this more for women or is this open for men and women? Susan.
Can okay, I would love to speak to that. I'd say it's for anybody that is wanting to go through a deep transformative process to remove blocks that are that and open and expand their radiance, and through that their vitality, their strength. That if anyone who wants to go through this work, that has people counting on them, so definitely, it's for everyone. And I think that's part of what's so beautiful about the union of opposites, and the bringing together of the polarities within first the individual on a very deep transformative level, and then being able to have, I mean, the more balancing of that on a literal level, the better, as far as I'm concerned, because it isn't just about women or empowering women. It really is about the integration of opposites, both collectively and individually. So yes, men, definitely; women, yes, all variations of.
But
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was going to say it initially started for women because that's where our target was. And as we began to ideate about this, it was like, no, this needs to be both. So that's really where we came in. And Susan, can you also add the whole astrological aspect of it and the timing? Because I think it's really the collective movement that's happening astrologically. That's the overarching theme for why we're doing this, and the importance of becoming a conscious leader now. There really is a sense of urgency to step up and to be a conscious leader for the people that we lead.
well, I agree. I mean, just look at the world around us today, for sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a quote according to Kundalini Yoga that leadership is the law of the age of Aquarius, and that rhythm is the law of happiness, and love is the law of victory. And so the way that leadership looks, as we talk about the age of Aquarius, and from an astrological standpoint, we really crossed that threshold in the end of 2020 with the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. But as Pluto's about to make its ingress for a permanent time, it did have a little dip in earlier this year as a preview. But as Pluto's about to move into Aquarius, this idea of that leadership is transforming, that we have to all find our own kind of guiding light, our own true self. And that is absolutely important. It isn't just that we're merging with the collective in a way that we don't still have our identity and our purpose, but that as leaders, that collaboration and the collective co-creation of, and the way that we communicate and collaborate and cooperate in this age of Aquarius, and when Pluto moves in January for 11 years, this is a huge transformation. And technology and the way that technology works, it's the power of our radiance to reach people and to help others to deal with the healing process that's going to be required, or the transition that's going to be required, in order to not just come through it and survive it, but to come through it with the kind of victory and stamina and caliber of someone with grace and love and leadership. So I'll stop there.
Well, you were on a roll. I wasn't going to stop you, but no, I agree. What I love about what you're doing is you're focusing on the inner work, right? And we're focusing on the inner work. The name of my business is self-help coaching. It's all about the self, and when we start tapping into that and developing our own light and doing our own work, it's that you can't find it looking outward. You got to look at it inwards. But I think what you guys are doing is absolutely fascinating, blending the energy and the intuitive nature of it. Barbara, let's talk to you, because there's this astrological component, and you got Pharaoh's energy modality, but the intuitive part, where does that come into play? And have you always been intuitive, or has it recently been developing more? Because I'm very intuitive, so I'm kind of interested.
Well, it's built into my natal chart, as Susan pointed that out to me many, back in 2020, which was when I got involved in astrology. So I work more in further developing it with these lovely energy people here in my life, and so they have helped me to further hone in on my intuition. So when I work with clients, I and in a variety of ways, I do mindset work as well. So, and let me just stop 1 second, because it is the mind, the body. It was the mind and the body that really got us together, and the soul is the blueprint of the birth chart. So that's how we kind of formulated this triangle. We see people that are so focused on mindset work, and they may do some body work with Farrell, or they may do some body work with Susan separately. I found myself referring people to Farrell. I found myself referring people to Susan, and it made so much sense to be integrated in a way. And that was my journey, Bob. That's exactly how I became more evolved, and how I developed my own leadership and being of more service to my clients in developing that intuition, because I knew how important doing the body work was. Susan is the one that also introduced me to Kundalini Yoga. I've been doing Kundalini Yoga for 2 years. And then I tap into Farrell's expertise. So I'm almost the poster child for the client work that we want to birth here, because this is exactly my growth journey. And so, yes, so working with these two ladies has helped me further develop my intuition in working with my clients.
Yeah, and I find you guys talk about stillness. I think you were talking about stillness in your book, but it's essential to be still and to have control of your thoughts and emotions, and because that's kind of how we create our existence, or even how we perceive our existence is through our thoughts and our emotions. But if we can still our mind, which most people can't, they have trouble. Being able to still your mind. And if you can't still your mind, if you can't stop the thoughts, then, you got a thinking problem, you really do. But if you can stop and then have that stillness and awareness, it allows your intuition. You need that quiet quietness within. And then when you learn how to just really trust it, then you can just really kind of move forward so quick. But I think I'm going to have to leave it at that. This is fascinating. I am really super interested in your program. I love the concept. So congratulations on that. But I do have to break for another commercial. So I am your host, Bob Colazar. You are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold and Brave TV network. We'll be right back after this. Thanks.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Bob Kolazarek, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Let me bring back my guests, Barbara, Farrell, and Susan. Welcome back. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk astrology now. I know I've given you guys all of my information for the chart, and I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say about it. I don't know who's going to take the lead on this one right now.
Yeah, no, I'm going to start, and Susan and I will kind of tag team. I first want to start because on the commercial break, we were talking about Mars, and there is a synchronicity going on right now with Mars. Mars is a very big energy currently in the sky all the way through this new moon in Scorpio that's happening on Monday. And the name of this show is called Bold Brave TV. And that is the essence of Mars, bold and brave. So there's another synchronicity between the 3 Scorpio risings coming together with you, Bob, tonight. So, and one more I identified was today, Mercury, the planet of communications, entered the sign of Sagittarius. And Bob, you are a Sagittarius rising.
That I am. 2 fire signs. I'm a Leo sign and a Sagittarius.
So there's a lot. Go ahead. Sorry.
I try to move, fast, a fire sign, but I'm pretty zen. So I like to take it slow, just as fast as I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in preparing to talk with you, Susan and I looked at your chart. So we've got some things we want to bring up that we've sort of highlighted. But if there's anything at all that you want to ask about, please, we're here to help sort through whatever questions you might have about your chart. So there's so much that we each go into or could go into when we meet with clients for astrology, but for a sit-down session. So we're only going to really cover you top line tonight. So the first thing that we would look at is some of the key planetary placements that are in your chart or in a client's chart that say something about who they are. So your sun sign is in Leo, and that sun placement is considered is considered dignified because the sun is in its home sign of Leo. So the sun shines brightly for you. It performs very well for you in the sign of Leo. So the sun is your personality, your authenticity, how you shine. And Leo is a leadership, brave leadership kind of quality. So you have a lot of, you were born with that placement of being very confident, very charismatic, a natural leader, and people want to follow you, and consider you an authority, a figure. So that's
Can I say something about that? Recently, I took on a leadership position with the American Pranic Healing Association. And up until this point, I really am anti-leadership. I am not a leadership-driven person. I never wanted to be in leadership. Not that I can't do it, but, it just something about it. So I don't know if this, because I've been coming into alignment with my own work. And is that just pulling out that natural ability? Is that what the source is
yes.
doing, the universe is doing? It's okay, Bob, you got to really kind of step it up now and pull out that innate ability.
It's already, you can say, yeah, go ahead, Susan, go ahead.
Well, I think that one of the important factors in this is that the sun in Leo is in the ninth house of higher consciousness and spirituality, and the house of the teacher. And so your leadership doesn't come from a place of power. It kind of has to do with that dignified sun energy. And while Leo is often associated with kings, like that energy of of rulership, so you could think of that as exploitive or power driven. When Leo is in its highest expression, it's incredibly creative. It's very authentic. It's very spiritual because it's the essence of divine creativity. And so if you were, like you said, now that you're getting in alignment maybe with your spiritual purpose, because the ninth house has to do with spiritual purpose and teaching and sharing knowledge. And, that is an aspect of where you're more likely to really come into your full strength as that fiery, creative, dynamic Leo sun. But you have it natally squared Neptune, so that is another factor where you could have avoided the path out of maybe some disillusionment or some there could be a lot with that where you avoided it for a while. So I'll stop there and I'm gonna throw it back to you, Barbara.
No, I did avoid that for a long time. And the other thing I avoided was like put myself out there publicly about my spirituality or anything like that, which is another, Leo's, they're the showman. They want to be the center of attention. I was never wanting to be the center of attention. I never wanted to have a television show. It was never on my bucket list, but again, this was a stretch, and I talked about it in my first episode. But this is the other thing. The show was in alignment with my work, with my business, with the association and all that. But again, is that just pulling that out of me too? Because I don't look for the limelight. You know what I mean? So this is like a stretch thing for me as well.
And I think it's your evolution that's naturally happening. So like you say, I really didn't want to be a leader. It's naturally part of who you are. And the cycles of your life have led you to this point, because when we were looking at your chart and sort of past history, there was probably a period in maybe 2020, 2021 that some of that might have been more coming through for you and having more of a desire to show yourself in that way.
Yeah, I was a couple years into Arhatic yoga at that point. So there's a lot of, blocks that you have to eliminate, old patterns, old programming, all that stuff. So I had to do a crash course and get rid of a lot of that in preparation for this show. Just being honest, but yeah, it's interesting. What else? What else about Bob?
So what else about Bob? Your moon is in Gemini, and and according to the whole sign house system, it's in your seventh house. So and that's where we have the differentiator between different house systems, which we don't have to get into. But I have 2 placements in Gemini, so I'm very familiar with that sort of archetype. She's laughing. So it's the moon is what you need to feel emotionally secure, and what Gemini is about is is the mind. It's the intellect. So you find that a lot of you have a lot of intellectual curiosity and a zest for learning, and a zest for learning a variety of things, because Gemini is that multitasker, and that makes you feel, I say emotionally secure, but that makes you feel also a sense of purpose. Does that resonate at all with you?
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of the purpose of this show too, because I get to learn a lot, be talking to different people and learning about different things. So I do a little research before, just to try to, learn a little bit more. So yeah, and I think part of my Sagittarius rising, there's a thirst in learning with that as well, right? Nailed that one.
Yes, and that was the yep. It's the third of the big three. Your rising sign, Sagittarius. Yes, it's about the quest for learning, knowledge, but it's also about teaching, which again is also tied to your ninth house, but also tied to the ruler of the sign of Sagittarius, which is Jupiter. So Jupiter, when we look at someone's natal chart, we look at the planet that is the ruler of that sign within your ascendant, and that becomes, I explain this to my clients, is that's your VIP planet. That's like the most important planet that is in your chart, and it has a tremendous amount of influence in your chart, as well as when that planet is moving about the sky currently. And we did find something in your chart about Jupiter. So we'll get to that in a minute. But Susan, I don't know what you wanted to add about the big three. I know we covered the sun. Anything about the moon or
Yeah.
Bob's rising that you want to add?
Yeah, just that your chart ruler is Jupiter in Taurus. And so I think that's an important thing to remember, that you show up, you are more a Jupiter and Taurus character than even your sun in Leo. You're represented more by Jupiter in Taurus. And again, that has significance to how that plays out in the timing of the really beautiful Jupiter return that you're having right now and into early next year, where it's a 12-year cycle that's been playing out around your work, your service, your health. And so you're about to be impacted in a very positive, growth-oriented, expansive way. But the grounded, or kind of more earthy side of you that you referred to earlier, where you said, "Oh, I'm Leo, I'm fire, I'm this," but I'm also kind of laid back. This grounded energy of the Taurus is very much the day-to-day routine, showing up in very concrete ways. It's very Taurus in a sense, because it's practical. It thinks about the material reality. It cares about the material reality, and things are about to really come to fruition in a very, I would say, prosperous way for you, when as you diligently kind of keep putting one foot in front of the other. And it may feel like a lot of work, but the payoff is going to be very concrete, I would say. And we've had some interesting things with windfalls and Jupiter and Taurus, but it's a very abundant financial sign. And then I will say too, the moon in Gemini, like, you're aware that you have that moon in Gemini. Saturn is in Pisces right now, squaring that moon. This could be a difficult time emotionally, where you feel sort of isolated or blocked or limited. And yes.
I'm laughing because I've been like having some like emotional purging going on, like over the last couple
Mhm.
of weeks. Seriously, it's like I don't know what's going on, but man, feels like some heavy stuff releasing, and it's been going on.
Yeah.
And the other thing that is interesting about what you're saying about Taurus and being grounded is, to me, is interesting because as an intuitive, I can't turn it off, right? So you're kind of like, you got two planes. You're on a higher plane, and you got to stay grounded. So I think there's like I got a balance with that. It seems to me, and I think Jupiter's, that's the planet love, right? That's a love planet, right? The heart, and it's the party planet, right? Fun planet,
It's
good time.
it's
Jupiter's good time, right?
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. It really is. It can be too much partying, but it's also
Yes.
great wisdom. It's, Zeus. It's really doing everything really big, for for good or for too much. But Yeah, and that your Venus is also in Gemini, as Barbara was talking about your moon in Gemini. Your Venus placement, which I think of as kind of your love relationship planet, that's been getting a pretty hard aspect from Neptune recently. Barbara, you've been having a Neptune transit too, but
All too familiar with Neptune. Susan and I talk about Neptune has me drowning right now.
yeah. And so in terms of love, relationships, and spirituality, finding a spiritual love, which, like human love is almost like not the lower octave, but it's almost like the microcosm to the macrocosm of the greater cosmic love. And so for you right now, it's almost like you're having to dissolve a lot of old ideas about love and really kind of spiritualizing your concept of relationships in a new way. So
Well, that's true. Like I said, I don't know what chart you have, a more advanced chart. Like my chart, the basic chart, Mars in the seventh house, relationships. I've been single 5 years. I have not been involved in a relationship. I haven't really wanted to be involved in a relationship. But I had a lot of work to do on myself to improve and to heal. And I think part of that is expressing out still. So I've been healing, but I did learn a lot about myself and how to handle triggers and emotions, and just really be able to get emotions and stuff out of control. So I'm open to relationship now. I don't know that I would have been, recently, but so say that again, something Neptune's like bugging out here. So
been
Barbara
sort of
and I can, we can commiserate together. What's happening?
Yeah.
Well, and I would say too, with Jupiter moving into your seventh house and into Gemini in May of next year, it's enjoy your solitude while you've had it, because Jupiter, the great luck and expansion and kind of Santa Claus of the zodiac, if you're open to it, when as it enters that seventh house of partnership and close relationships, this is bringing you a lot of gifts in the area of partnership. And some of that, is gearing up. But before then, but yes, the last year and a half, the nodes have been in your sixth house of health, your 12th house of mental health. And these are healing houses, and these are more solitary energetic houses. So you've been doing a lot of healing ultimately, and you're kind of on the tail end of some of that, that emotional healing and learning what it means to really kind of go through maybe a grieving process. So
And,
Yeah,
and partnership.
I think I'm there. I really think I'm there. But unfortunately, boy, I think we could talk for hours on this. I haven't even gotten to like half my questions. But you know what? I have to take another break. But it's been great having you guys here, and good luck with your class and your program. It sounds fantastic. So good luck to you guys. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So anyway, I got to take a break. I'm Bob Kolazarek, and you've been watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we will be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easy EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Welcome back. I am Bob Kolazarek, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I tell you, this has been an amazing hour with three amazing women that I share a like-minded mission with, which is to help people connect really with their true selves, their true nature, and live a life of well-being, a life of meaning. But I didn't have a chance to have them tell you how to get in contact with them. So for registering for the event, it's www.barbaracalexander.com/alchemy leadership. So it's there on the screen, www.barbaracalexander.com/alchemy leadership. And you can register from there for that amazing program that they have going. And just piggybacking off the last segment on the astrology, I really started to keep an open mind to astrology after taking a couple of the esoteric astrology workshops from Master Glenn. And, like the ladies were saying, it's really spot on. One of the things on my chart, and we didn't get into, is like the node. I don't know nodes, north node, south node. I don't know, but I had a node in my first house, which is about the self, opposite of the relationships in the seventh house. And that node represented that I usually put my partners in my relationships ahead of myself. And that's so true. And I did that for years. And when I started, it just something clicked inside of me. It's like, yeah. So it helped me to figure out more boundaries for myself. Yeah, just really focus on taking care of myself better. So that actually came out of the esoteric astrology class. And then I talked about the seventh house, which Mars we talked about. It's very destructive. It's like your life's battlefield. And, that was in my seventh house, which on my chart, it's your relationship. So I did struggle with that. And knowing what I know now, maybe I should have been a bachelor all these years. I don't know. But my point is just to keep an open mind, use discernment, and determine what makes the most sense for you and what resonates with you. But really, keeping an open mind is really kind of huge, I would say. And that's for a reminder for tonight. I am hosting a meditation on Twin Hearts with psychological healing after the show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We have, approximately 50 people or so interested. Not a lot of people actually said, I am going. So I don't know who's going to attend, but even if it's a couple of people, I will still hold it for tonight because I haven't actually done my meditation today myself, but depending on the continued interest, I'd be happy to turn that into a weekly thing. So anyway, I'm also very excited about next week. In episode 2, I had the executive director and the membership coordinator of the American Pranic Healing Association on with me, and I'm also on the association team as the operations manager. But the American Pranic Healing Association is part of a larger project. It was part of It's a component of the Pranic Healing as a Profession initiative that was started a couple of years ago. And I'm super excited to have Master Glenn Mendoza, MD, on with me next week, along with Marianne Chung and Jenny Lai. And they'll be here to talk about the genesis of Pranic Healing as a profession, and to focus on another component of it, which is the Business Development Accelerator Program. And that launched at the same time as the American Pranic Healing Association. So super excited about that. Master Glenn, I talk about him. I can't talk about anything that I do, healing-wise or Hatha Yoga-wise, without talking about Master Glenn, because he is my teacher. And he's amazing. He oversees so many different initiatives and projects, including the Pranic Healing Research Institute. We talked with Dr. Jason Yuan about that last week. The certification programs that I went through, he oversees those. He oversees the teaching programs. He's teaching all the time, traveling all the time. He's an author and retired doctor. Just an amazing man, and I'm grateful for his teaching and guidance. Also is Marianne Chung. She's on Master Glenn's leadership team. She's also part of the Business Development Accelerator team. She's on the board of directors for the American Pranic Healing Association. And Dr. Jason Yuan also talked about Marianne because she helped present for the Pranic Healing Research Institute at the Tai Chi Qigong conference hosted by Harvard University a few weeks. I don't know how long ago, maybe a month ago. And then Jenny Lai, she oversees the Business Development Accelerator Program, which is a program developed for people that want to be professional healers, healing entrepreneurs. It's a course they developed to turbocharge getting people up and running with their pranic healing business. So it's an exciting program, and I'm really looking forward to hear more about their program. I know they have cohorts in process, their first wave of cohorts going through the program. So that's exciting. And so I'm super excited to have them here next week. And but that's it. That's all I have for today. So I'm your host, Bob Kolazarek, and you've been watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Thanks for being here. See you next week. Namaste, everyone.
This has been Greetings from the Ashram with host Bob Kolazarek. Through meaningful conversations and practical insights, this show invites you to explore the endless possibilities for personal growth, healing, and spiritual awakening. Tune in each week to discover how these practices can bring balance and harmony to your life, making it a true journey of self-discovery. Fridays, 7 p.m. on the Bold Brave TV network.